I think the one thing that I wish I would have known in the beginning, I had, when I first described some of the symptoms, some of the initial reactions were that it's either emotional or psychiatric, and there must be something wrong with me, or there's some type of behavioral health issue underlying it, and that's not what RVD is, if when it's a synucleinopathy, and I think we have learned so much even in the 6 and 7 years that Caron and I have been involved with NAPS. There's a program planning for the prevention, of Parkinson's, and it is, I think, it's a continuum. It is a progression on, a timeline for many of us. That timeline may be 20 years for some, or it may be shorter, but it is a disease process, a neurodegenerative disease process. I think that's what I did not understand in the beginning, is it is a part of a neurodegenerative disease process. Couldn't spell synucleinopathy then, but understanding what that means now, does make a big difference. I think that's why so many people are reluctant, because they do think, the behavior is unusual. It's unsettling, so you don't come right out and talk about it. Um, and then finally, I just want to reiterate, what Karen said. The great thing about the Community Engagement Board has been the chance, to have that identity and to be able to share experiences. And, I think today that's different than when we were first diagnosed, because that didn't exist then. So now there is some place where you can go and you can look at webinars, you can look at podcasts, you can hear other people's stories. So I think that's all what's different and new, and I wish I had the chance 6 or 7 years ago to have that understanding.
Karen, it sounds like people should not accept the first diagnosis. What
Yes.
is that what you would want them to know, or what's
Um,
your advice?
well, definitely not to accept the first diagnosis, but get good information from a variety of reliable sources, because everyone's going to have their different take on it. And some of the initial things that you learn about or read about can be quite scary. And I think it's important for healthcare professionals to balance some of those realities with what is possible. It's not a death sentence, it's not the end of your life. There are things that you can do to influence how the disease evolves. And in spite of RBD, in spite of Parkinson's, we can all create amazing lives for ourselves.